Back again for another video. On today's topic, it will be about emotions and how you should handle them in a relationship as a man dealing with a woman. This is the perspective that I'm coming from when I say most of the things that I'm going to discuss in this video. But the title of this video is going to be Don't Get Emotional with Her. And I think that's very understandable to say. I think a lot of men can relate with that. Though I don't think we understand as a unity of men, a collective of men, that could mean multiple things. And that looks very different depending on the circumstances and situations. Also, that you may not even see yourself getting emotional with her, right? So I think it's very important to have this conversation with you all. Those of my listeners who still visit my videos and frequent them. I do appreciate everyone who listens, of course. I don't have a huge following, which I do not want. Because, a lot of things that I say are not for the average person, and they would overload themselves on the information that I talk about here. But nonetheless, to the topic, don't get emotional with her. This is for several reasons, which I'll go into in great detail. But I want to start off with the Proverbs 31 woman. Well, actually, I want to start off with the Proverbs 31 verses. Some of you may not be religious. Some of you may be. Nonetheless, I use the scripture as a conduit to speak wisdom, because many things that it says are actually true, regardless of what your belief system is in regards to religion or a higher power. You may be agnostic, not necessarily believing in the doctrines of religions, but nonetheless, there's a lot of wisdom to be had in many religious scripts and texts. So that's where I speak from when I talk about these things, not necessarily saying that you should believe in them as well, but that the wisdom is sound, right? It is something that you can apply to many aspects of life, because we can see these things around us naturally. And this Bible was written, over 6,000 years ago. So, it has some validity if it can last that long, and we can see the same things in our culture today that it speaks about, right? But nonetheless, Proverbs 31, we're going to start from the beginning. And this is not going to be a long text. I'm actually going to read only 3 verses of it. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. What, my sons, and what, the son of my womb, and what, the son of my vows. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. That's Proverbs 1-3, Proverbs 31, 1-3. I want to focus in on who's speaking, right? It says, the first verse says, the words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. So King Lemuel, I can never say his name right. Lemuel, the prophecy that he's talking about comes from his mother. This is the things that his mother told him. And these are the things that his mother told him concerning women. And one of the things that I want to point out here that's really important is verse 3 of chapter 31 of Proverbs. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Right? Let's break that down a little bit. What is a man's strength? I mean, really think about it. What is his strength? And I'm not talking about in regards to his physical existence. This has to be something that can be applied to all kings, no matter where they come from, no matter who they are, all kings. Meaning that their strength, actual physical ability would differ because they're different people. So what strength are they talking about? This is the strength in regards to kings, right? because it says once again, give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Right? So it's talking about, once again, the strength that even a king would have, right? Because it can be destroyed by women. It didn't say a Jezebel. It didn't say a whore. It didn't say a promiscuous woman. It didn't say a wife. It didn't say any of the categorical things that we call women these days. It just says, give not thy ways, give not thy strength unto women. Women, period. And once again, what is a man's strength? What is a strength? What is the strength that even a king would have? That's his structure. That's his masculinity. That's his leadership. Now, this does not mean that you should not give a woman your masculinity, that you should not give a woman your leadership. It means that, once again, do not give into the ways that will destroy those things. One thing that you have to understand about women, and why I bring up this whole thing about emotions, is that women are very emotionally driven. Captain Obvious, huh? Women are emotionally driven, and they operate forefront from their emotions and then rationalize everything subsequently. Majority, not all, of course. We have to say this here for some reason, because people don't understand what generalities mean or a general statement means. But nonetheless, it doesn't apply to all women, but it applies to the majority enough that we can speak about it very fluently here and not run into any many bumps about what the subject matter is. But when it comes to their emotions, this is their realm. Remember, give not thy strength unto women. This means not to play their game. This means not to get caught into the emotional entanglement that is their realm, because they'll win there. You have no strength in emotionally going back and forth with a woman. The only time that you can maintain this strength is when it comes from a position of authority and power, meaning that you can emotionally show your love, your interest, your concern, your validation, everything that is from the position of power. Now, that's of course another topic, but nonetheless, I think you should get what I'm talking about here when I say that. I'll give an example, just for GP. When I show my care for any one of my women, and it comes from an emotional standpoint, and it comes from a position of power all at the same time, I'll say something as simple as, what's on your agenda today? Because this prompts them to give me something, right? I'm requesting product from them, and it also shows concern as well. This is the position of power while showing emotion, because someone who generally doesn't care wouldn't be concerned about what's on their agenda today and what do they need to accomplish in their day. They don't care about those things. But the position of power, the position of leadership, all these things can be shown in the position of emotions as well. And it can show and relay that you actually care and that you have some concern about them emotionally while still maintaining your position of power. This is about as far as you can take it, though. I mean, of course, there'll be times where you have sentimental interactions with them, but they should be very brief, and they shouldn't last very long, and they shouldn't be that very often. And I say this is because the longer you stay in that realm of emotion where you are showing too much vulnerability, you are giving your strength to her. There's another scenario and a few more scenarios in which this applies to as well. For instance, arguing with women. Now, okay, I'm not going to say that. Let me make a clear distinction between the general consensus about what arguments is and what the actual technical definition that I'm using here. I don't mean that you cannot debate with women. I think a healthy debate, no matter who it is very good for you. Well, what I'm saying is you shouldn't argue with women. Argument is when you are standing on an equal stance of opinionated basis, trying to prove a point. You shouldn't do that with women. It's either she's going to fall under your authority and she's going to listen to your leadership, and there is no such thing as an argument. Of course, once again, there could be healthy debates, meaning that there is a discussion that happens between people based upon what the facts of the circumstance or situation that is being discussed is. But as far as arguing, that's more opinionated. Once again, you should not be arguing your opinion with another woman. You shouldn't be. I've done it. I'm sure plenty of men have done it. And we are not perfect, of course. So there's going to be times and instances where these things happens, but you should make that limited to things outside of your relationship. You shouldn't do that within your relationship with any woman, whether it be your mother, your close friends, whatever. The furthest realm that I can say that it's slightly okay to argue with women is when you have no relation to them and you don't care about what they have to say. And you may be, because I've done it plenty of times. I've been bored and I'm just, it's a cat playing with its mouse, I've been bored plenty of times, and I've had arguments with women. I don't really care. It's just very interesting because most times what I'm doing is I'm checking other factors, because the thing about a woman's emotions, they're also used as shields. This is the reason why they appeal to emotions so much in arguments, is because they're used most times as a way to deflect. They say things that try to put you on guard, try to get you to react, so that they no longer have to be on the position of defense in regards to their emotions. They actually use these things to deflect onto you and project onto you a stance that they want you to take, right? Which is it's a more, how can I put it? It's a weaker stance for a man to be in, if that makes any sense. Because now you're in their realm and they can play with you. This is the reason why you shouldn't argue, because it leads to them doing what exactly that I do. Because I am, rational first, then emotional second, right? Women are emotional first, then rational second. So what she's doing is she understands that her emotions are a weak point for her. Most women do. Most women know that they can be manipulated very easily through their emotions. So what they do is they try to put you in an emotional state so that you can be manipulated and they can use their rationality on you. See how that works? This is how they destroy kings. This is how they destroy men. Because remember, it didn't say any type of woman. It just says woman. It didn't say, any specific type, right? By the way, this woman that's being spoke of is the Proverbs 31 woman. It is included in this because remember, this is Proverbs 31 that all this stuff is coming from. So it starts off, regardless of how women claim to be this Proverbs 31 woman, part of being a Proverbs 31 woman is not using your ability to destroy men. Simply put as that. It starts off saying, warning men, because remember, this is a message to his sons from that his mother told him about women. A lot of people don't catch that. A lot of women think they scroll past this point in this scripture and they don't slow it down to realize that this is a message to men. This isn't a message to women. It starts off telling the king says, this is something that my mother told me, right? And then it goes on to the other attributes and things like that. And his own wisdom is also put in there as well. It isn't entirely the things that his mother told him, but it starts off with that. It took a woman to be able to tell another man, hey, this is probably what you should look out for, right? That's where part of his wisdom comes from when he's talking to his sons about the Proverbs 31 woman. It came from his mother, warning him. That's the first thing starts with, warning him. Once again, Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. That's a warning. It means that every situation that you look for in a woman, you have to look for a woman who is going to try to manipulate you into your emotions, because this is what it's dealing with, because there is no other way that a woman can destroy a man. The only time that a woman can destroy a man is if you bow to her position of authority in what she reigns king in, where she reigns a queen in, rather. And that's the emotional, the intangible world, pretty much what I call it. That's where it comes from. You have to watch yourself to not be caught up in these things. And you also have to watch yourself to watch out for these women who seek to draw you into the clutches of what they hold a monopoly on, right? These women exist. Actually, it's the majority. I know you guys see them all the time on YouTube. Brittany Renner. She's a prime example of a woman who destroys kings, right? She's a prime example of a woman who destroys men, right? Because she draws them in and she gets the attention that she wants. She uses her emotional ability to deflect. They fall for it and she destroys them rationally. It happens every time. If you really pay attention to the process of the arguments that happen when it comes to a lot of these women who put themselves on media platforms, they start off very, very emotional. They don't start with their rationality. If you notice, most times they're very erratic. They're very loud. They feel like they have a point to make. And this is to throw you off guard. This is to get you emotional, because that's the only time that they can actually defeat you. Because remember, these are ways that destroy men and kings, right? A woman can't physically beat you. We know this, and we've seen this plenty of times on video. She can't get you any other way. You have to really think about this. What ways can a woman get you? Generally speaking, because generally speaking, a woman cannot overpower a man. So she has to go where her power is that she has that you don't have. And that's in the emotional realm. This is the reason why you shouldn't argue with women. Argue with her, rather. That's the name of the topic. Why you shouldn't argue with her. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. I still have videos up in those areas. I guess I'll be getting back on the old rigmarole. We're going to go ahead and start these videos back up, and we're going to get these topics coming down the pipeline more often, more consistently, and of course, more notably to what current things are going on. But anyways, this has been the Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day. And of course, may you have a good day, and peace be with you.